Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 1999 Bow School District meeting. At this point, I'd like to recognize Sarah Gillies from the Bow Girl Scouts for our Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm not Sarah.
You're not Sarah. All right, Sarah, you sit down. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura Bartlett.
Color Guard advance. Color Guard post the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color Guard dismissed.
Thank you, Laura. Presenting the colors today was Corey Steck, Shannon Driscoll, Laura Bartlett, Sarah Gillies, Katie Barry, Abby Geik, Elizabeth Rogers, Cassandra Labonte, Alison Hink, Megan McCann, Shelby Odom, Melissa Tosiano, Lindsay Buckman, and Emily Marvin. Thank you. As you might know, my name is Jim Hayden. I am filling out Dom D'Ambroso's last year as his term in school moderator. This is my first meeting, and I'm going to do my best to get through it with a minimum of problems or created by me. As I sat there watching Peter Imsey on Wednesday, I thought of all the things that I could do better, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss all of them. Peter, I think, did a tremendous job, and one of the things that Peter did was recognize the folks who had passed away in Bow last year. I was kind of thinking of doing the same thing, so I pulled out the town report, and I was going to list all of the kids that were born last year in Bow. When I realized there were 68 of them, I thought I would at least leave it at that. So that is really why we're here tonight, folks. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce the people who are up here that will help us get through the meeting. As I said, my name's Jim Hayden. Sitting to my left is Harriet Crable. She's the clerk of this meeting. Up on stage, we have, starting from your right, moving toward me, we have Pete Chamberlain, the business administrator for the school district. I think I've got Ralph Minicello. Yeah, that's Ralph. Superintendent of schools. Ellen Fries. Marie McMillan, Chris Parkinson, Ann Bear, Bob Wester. From the school district, we also have George Edwards, principal of Bow High School, Rhonda Giesler, Pat McLean, principal of Bow Elementary School, Kirk Spofford, principal of Bow Memorial School, Rhonda Giesler, Director of Special Education, Gay Longnecker, Assistant Principal of Bow High School, and Sandy Beauvais, Assistant Principal of Bow Elementary School, Bow Middle School. I know for a fact I've missed some folks, but I wanted to remind people just quickly why we're here tonight, and there's a lot of people paying attention to the Constitution of the state of New Hampshire. I'd like to read to you Part 1, Article 28, that states that no subsidy, charge, tax, impost, or duty shall be established, fixed, laid, or levied upon any pretext whatsoever without the consent of the people or their representatives in the legislature or authority derived from that body. And that is the reason why we're here as the school district in Bow. We're here to consider and vote upon the warrant articles that have been posted. It is a meeting that belongs to you, and my job is to help you through the meeting. It's your chance to participate in governance in the town of Bow. Under the law, it is my obligation to preside at this meeting. I regulate the business as it's conducted. I will do my best to establish simple rules, though as I looked them all over last night, they seem a little complex to me, but I'll do my best to set some rules and stick with them. I'm here to preserve order and decide questions as they come up. Tonight, the procedure I'm going to follow is we will read the article from the school warrant. We'll secure a motion in a second. And when folks are, as we've done before, are motioning or speaking, we would ask that you state your name and your address so that we can put that in the record. I will recognize people on the stage to give presentations regarding each of the warrants. After they have had an opportunity to explain what's behind them, they'll be open for general discussions. I would ask people to speak from the microphones in the back corners. This proceeding is being recorded, and I think it might be on videotape too, in case I really want to watch it when I go home tonight. I'll try to remind folks where we are in the proceeding, and I'll do my best to keep track of that. As with past meetings, I've done my best to try to incorporate the rules that Dom has used for many years. As amendments are presented, there'll only be one amendment allowed at a time. There will be no, I will not accept negative amendments or motions. I reserve the right to ask you to put amendments in writing. I'm not going to require them. I learned that lesson the other night. But I'll be one happy moderator if you could write them down so that I don't get bogged down trying to figure out what we're going to do. I would ask anybody who's a non-voter to please sit up in the upper corner of the meeting. And I would ask you to move at this time. As you all well know, there's no smoking in this auditorium or anywhere on the school grounds. With respect to motions for reconsideration, consistent with past practice, I will not accept motions. I will only accept motions for reconsideration immediately after the article has been voted upon. And I will accept them from a person who voted on the prevailing side. There is also a statutory procedure to limit reconsideration. If the body adopts that restriction on reconsideration, reconsideration cannot happen until another continuation of the meeting 7 days later. Childcare tonight is being provided by the Girl Scouts in the music room, and I would ask anybody who's interested in taking advantage of that to please do so liberally. My purpose tonight is to try to give everybody a full and fair opportunity to speak. As a general rule, everyone who wishes to speak will be able to do so. You must be recognized the moderator before you can. Please do not speak while other people are speaking. Please focus your remarks at me. And I'm not going to set a time limit because it would be impossible for me to keep track of it, but I would ask you to be brief. I may have mentioned that I'd like you to speak from the microphones. I will only accept motions and amendments from the microphone. The exception to that is consistent with the town meeting. I will accept motions to limit debate from points other than the microphones, as well as I will take points of order from people who are not at the microphones. If there is a vote to limit debate, I will allow the person standing at each microphone to speak. I will also allow anybody here on stage to speak. After that, there will be no more discussion and we will vote on the question. I would ask you to keep that in mind when you consider whether you are going to limit debate. Please refrain from personal attacks, disruptive behavior. It is my authority to ask that people be removed from the meeting, and I hope I will never have to do that. I will not be voting tonight unless it's needed for a tiebreaker, or if I need to vote to defeat something that I would otherwise want to see defeated. Before we get going, I was trying to find some words of inspiration and was coming up dry and was getting a little frustrated, so my wife helped me. And I'd like to quote a line from Robert Frost, and he stated, "Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence." And with that in mind, I would like to recognize Chris Parkinson.
I'd like to move that the district take up the discussion and voting on Articles 1, 2, and 3 at an adjourned session of this meeting to be held on the 16th day of April, 1999, at 7 o'clock in the evening at the Bow High School Auditorium, and upon the completion of business tonight, the meeting shall be considered adjourned to such time and place.
Do I have a second? This is a motion to adjourn. It is a motion that is not normally debatable. I don't see anybody who seeks to be heard at this point. Okay, so I guess that means you're ready for the question. The motion is to adjourn the meeting as stated by Chris. Please, all in favor state aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay. It is a vote in the affirmative. I so declare it. And
Mr. Moderator? Mr. Moderator,
yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion right now to restrict reconsideration on this until such time that it's brought up again.
Excuse me, the motion you make, sir, is it the motion to restrict reconsideration under RSA 40:10?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Okay. That is the procedure I explained earlier that prohibits reconsideration for a meeting 7 days later. The motion is to restrict consideration. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. So that whisks us quickly past 1, 2, and 3, and brings us to Article 4. I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me, at this point, I'd like to recognize Chris Parkinson for a presentation.
I'd ask George Edwards to come up first, please. George is accepting this award on behalf of another group. That group is a group of girls that you empowered last year by making them a gymnastics team for the Bow High School. That team and this award is a certificate of appreciation to that team for an outstanding season and our sincere thanks for the quick return on our investment. It's presented to Jim Burke and the Bow High girls gymnastics team. They, as you may not know, but probably do, they came within 35 100ths of a point of taking the state championship, and they came in second. They are tonight unable to be here because they're on their way to the New England Championships. I received a letter from their captain, Kara Tai, and I'd like to take a few seconds to read it. My name is Kara Tai, and I'm currently a junior at Bow High School. I was the co-captain of the varsity gymnastics team. On behalf of the gymnastics team, I would like to thank everyone for their support of our team. If you recall, last year at this time, we attended the Bow School meeting and requested to become a team. We would have liked to come and thank everyone in person tonight for giving us the approval to be a team, but we are traveling to Rhode Island to represent Bow High School in the state of New Hampshire as we compete against the rest of the region. This year was our first year as a team, and it was a great one. We had 12 girls come out for the team. We competed against all Class L schools. We finished our season with a perfect 14-0 record. In the state championship meet, we took runner-up, defeating the 1998 state champions, Salem High School, and sophomore Laura Crescenti won the balance beam title. Bow was the only team to have 2 gymnasts place in the all-around. I think that our most important accomplishment was gaining support from our fellow students, teachers, and the town. If anyone attended our meets, they would know that it was a squeeze just to fit in the gym and watch the meet. At the state championship meet, which was held at Pinkerton High School, Bo had the most fans. We would like to thank everyone who helped us last year to achieve this team. Without your support, none of this would have happened. We have a bright future in Bo Gymnastics, and we want to thank you for making it possible. Next year, we will bring home a state championship. The next presentation I'd like to make is directed at an individual. And this individual is someone who, in my term as on the school board and on the budget committee before, I've witnessed that he's a loyal attender of meetings. He's somebody that attended quite a number of meetings as the Bow High School issue was debated and the Bow High School was constructed. This individual doesn't have any children in the school, but is frequently seen at a number of events. He's here tonight, and I'd like to make this presentation. This individual sort of embodies how someone can get involved in the high school and into the school system and really take back from it. He's there every night at every basketball game that's at home in the Bow Gym. Paul Hammond, if you could come up, we'd like to present you with a plaque. This plaque reflects what this plaque says, which is Paul Hammond, Bow Falcons #1 fan. This plaque will be near his seat, his favorite seat in the Bow Gym, so you'll be able to see that, and no one else will sit in your seat, Paul. My final presentation is to someone who, until the continuation of this meeting to the April 16th, we thought would be getting done tonight. But because of the law, she will continue on in her role until that time when we will actually change and have Mark Lefebvre join us on the board. But I thought it best to make this presentation to her tonight. And give this plaque to Ann Baer. She has spent 8 years as a school board member for Bow. She was a member of the feasibility study for the Bow High School. She headed up the curriculum committee for Bow High School. She represented the school board in all collective bargaining agreements over her 8 years. She was served on numerous committees. During her tenure, Bow High School was built. She was extremely dedicated to improving the quality of education programs in Bow. She was also dedicated to improving the quality of our school system in general, and she was also dedicated to improving the quantity of students in the school. She will be greatly missed, and
Chris handed this to me upside down. I don't know what that means. It's really been a pleasure to serve on the board. I've enjoyed every minute of it. If I didn't have so many children, I'd probably stay on, but the commitments have just kind of gotten out of hand. It's been a wonderful experience. I'm proud of the school district. I'm proud of the voters. I'm proud of what we have here in Bow. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Before we move on to Article 4, I thought I would announce the election results relating to the school district. For moderator, James V. Hatem, that being me. The treasurer, Mark Laval. For school board, there were three people on the ballot. Chris Parkinson received 409 votes. Mark LaFave received 478 votes. And Brooke Barassa received 310 votes. Okay. The next order of business is Article 4. It is to determine and appoint the salaries of the school board and to fix the compensation of any other officer or agent of the district, or to take any other action in relation thereto. And for this article, I would like to recognize Ann Bear.
I move Article 4 as printed in the annual report.
It's been moved. Do I have a second, please? Second, is that Earl? Thank you. Pierce? Been moved and seconded. Ann?
This is a routine housekeeping article.
Okay. You got the move. All right. Okay. Article 4 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, it's a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 5, to hear the reports of agents, auditors, committees, or officers chosen and to pass any vote relating thereto. I would like to recognize Ellen Fries at this.
I move that reports of agents, auditors, committees, and officers be accepted as printed in the annual report.
I have a motion, can I have a second, please? Earl Pierce, second. Earl. This is where my wife's supposed to help me. I have Article 5 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. It's a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 6. To see what sum of money the district will raise and appropriate for the support of schools, said sum being exclusive of all special warrant articles, for the salaries of school district officials and agents, and for the payment of statutory obligations of the district, and to authorize the application against said appropriation of such sums as are estimated to be received from the State Foundation Aid Fund, together with other income. The school board to certify to the selectmen the balance between the estimated revenue and the appropriation, which balance is to be raised by taxes by the town, or to take any action in relation thereto. For this, I'll recognize Bob Wester, please.
I move that the district vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $13,569,130 for the support of schools, said sum being exclusive of all special warrant articles for the salaries of the school district officials, agents, and for the payment of statutory obligations of the district, and authorize the application against said appropriation of such sums as are estimated to be received from the State Foundation Aid Fund, together with other income. The school board to certify to the selectmen the balance between the estimated revenue and the appropriation, which balance is to be raised by taxes by the town.
I have a motion, can I have a second, please? Oh, we don't put the budget one up. There we go. You want to keep trying?
As you can see in the overhead, just a brief outline of the budget. If you look under the proposed 99,200, the 13,569,130 total, kind of trying to summarize where the increases in our budget are. The budget, as you've noticed in your town or your school district report, is $369,300. $144 increase over last year, which is a 2.80%. If you notice where the increases are, they fall mainly within our total regular education area, the health and insurance benefits, which is a line item that has increased by the school district as well as the town, and most private sector have realized similar situations along the way, and special ed. If you just really look and look at these health insurance and benefits and special ed, just add those two together, pretty much that's our increase. We do have some decreases along the way, as you can see. The debt service, which is for the high school, it's the bond for this high school, has dropped $45,000 this past year, and that will continue to drop during the remaining, I think it's 18 years left on the bond.
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Have your name and street, please.
My name is Mary Lee Seal. I live on Woodland Circle. And I don't know what motion I would have to make to postpone this particular article until after we have voted on all the articles through Article 11, so that we know the total amount to have, because we don't know what we might approve on these other special warrants.
The Article 6 is not inclusive of the other amounts to be raised by the other articles. It's exclusive, as it says, of the special warrant articles, and those are the subsequent articles.
That's right. So if we approve all these others, then we'll know the exact amount that we're approving for the total, won't we?
Excuse me, Jim, this total is I think, just to rehash what I had laid out before, it doesn't include the warrant articles. It only includes our operating budget. This amount is not going to change. You're going to be approving or not approving warrant articles along the way for other items, as you see in your booklet there, but those are separate. This amount, this number you approve in this segment is not going to change. This is the operating budget for the school district.
That's right, but it will still be raised by taxation, won't it? I mean, so it should be included in the total, shouldn't it?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Susan Carlson, One Stack Drive. I know it's late, and I know it's Friday night, but my eyes aren't quite this bad. I was wondering if you could tell, I can't read the numbers up there. I was wondering if you could possibly give us the numbers for the increases, because I'm having, and I imagine most everybody else here is having the same trouble. We can't really read the numbers.
I would be the same way at this hour, after the day I had too. Sure. Where would you like me to start? Right on the total education?
If you would you start with the biggest increases
Sure.
and by the line items?
Sure.
No.
The increase on the first line item, which is the total regular education, is 303,000. Sorry.
Now, we can see the numbers now, we just can't figure out what category. Is that better? Much better.
Do you want me to still do it? I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, if you do the top 3 or 4,
Sure.
that'd be fine.
The total regular education is 303,311. Health insurance and benefits, and that's health insurance and benefits is 210,172, and special education is 147,309.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Andrew Forrest, Windsor Drive. In just going through, just had a couple of questions. Certainly health premiums have gone up. What I don't really have a good feel for is what kind of health plans are we purchasing? Is this an indemnity plan, an HMO plan? Have the deductibles remained the same? Have the co-pays by the employees of the school district remained the same? Second question is, How many full-time equivalents does this budget represent? And then the third, on going through, I guess I had two specific questions about, on your proposed budget and your function and object. I note that there was a request under social studies for, math books. The request was for $14,000, and then the school board proposed adding $5,000 to that. And there's also an item of $2,000 for home study or home education. I guess it's my understanding that when you're homeschooling somebody, is the Bow Schools District giving
Excuse me, sir.
books?
Could you ask one question at a time? And
I
then we'll-
apologize.
Yeah.
That's okay, that would be helpful. As far as your first question, and the health benefits and what type of health benefits, I think Ann Beer could, being in fact she works with negotiations.
Health benefits have always been a negotiated agreement. We base our universe on Blue Choice point-of-service plans. And some of the employees who have been here for a long time have an indemnity plan, others do not. So others have HMOs. But that falls under the negotiations, and you can't change that. We do have a cafeteria plan where if the employee chooses to perhaps take a spouse's benefits, they get a portion of what it would cost us back, but it saves the district money. So that's basically how the health insurance works for the teaching staff. For the support staff, we have a dollar cap where we pay only a certain portion of health insurance, and for all our new employees, we only offer single health insurance. We have definitely trimmed that budget down. Homeschooling, that is not homeschooling as you might think. That is for children who are at home because of an illness or some incapacitation, and it's for tutoring them at home.
Okay.
And we're required to do that. I don't remember the rest of it.
And further questions, sir?
There are 244 employees. I think you asked that question too.
I'm still not clear on the health benefits. Do the teachers pay a portion of their health insurance, or is this paid entirely by the Bow School District?
I think we're paying 80%. The Bow School District pays 80%.
Yes.
Stephen Buckley, 28 Brown Hill Road. Can someone identify for me what the 1998 general fund surplus is from the school district budget from 1998?
We don't have surpluses, we turn them back.
That's how the towns gets developed, in terms of, that's another way it gets developed, is that we turn any surpluses we have back to the town.
Okay,
we don't have
what was returned back to the town budget?
If we don't have an invoice, we can't, the town holds our money based on so we can't take extra money.
Well, let me just ask this. What was not spent from last year's budget that was
We
appropriated?
can answer
Put it that way.
Steve?
Keith?
97,000.
Was the unspent portion returned to the town?
This past year.
Thank you.
Further questions? Yes, sir.
Andrew Forrest, in my flurry of questions, you forgot to cover on the math books. The requested amount was $14,000 and the school board proposed $19,000. Is there a reason you're spending $5,000 more than I presume the math department asked for?
we will get you an answer, but we don't have one immediate.
Is there any further discussion while they were looking for the answer to that question? Yes, sir.
Ray Helgamore, Woodland Circle. Perhaps somebody could explain to me why in the report of the district treasurer, we show that there is a deficit or a loss of $111,925. Just explain that to me, please.
Could you repeat the question, Ray?
Ray, are you looking at a page in the,
Yes, I am.
what page would that be?
I think it's S28, but wait till I succumb to age here. S28. Shows
Jim,
that there.
Jim, I might answer that question for Ray. Jim, here,
Who's
Mark.
speaking? Where? Oh, there you are. Thank you.
The treasurer's report is purely a cash receipts, cash disbursement report, and all that is telling you is that from the town, the school district did not receive, as of June 30th, its cash, the cash to pay the last appropriations that, or bills that were paid. So it's just a matter of transferring that amount from the town over to the school district. It's purely cash in, cash out.
Do we not close our books at the end of, on 30 June?
Yes.
May I ask why we still end up without the funds being transferred then?
Because a transfer of cash did not get made from the school from the school checking account, general fund checking account, to the treasurer's checking account at the school district. And if the cash isn't there, then we
My
need to
question
show it
is
as a
why?
deficit. Excuse me?
Why was it not transferred to the treasurer?
Just timing. I mean, getting it done on the day, on June 30th. The actual transfer being made from one bank account to the other.
Further questions?
Yeah, Mike Walczyk, Sullivan Drive. Question for the school board, maybe somebody could answer. There's a rumor flying around town that we're buying mountain bikes for phys ed. And I understand that it's not in a line item in the budget, and I'm trying to get an idea of, did we, if we did, what we spend, why? I mean, mountain bikes, when I was in school, wasn't a real necessity.
I'll respond to the mountain bikes if you'd like.
I'd love that.
We do, Bow High School does own mountain bikes.
How many?
12.
At what cost?
That was bought with the original bond for this building.
So
I don't-
in other words, we've got this great school. We got mountain bikes.
I-
Next year in the budget, are we getting snowmobiles
Now,
for the pond? I mean, it's,
Order, please.
if I can respond to that.
Sure.
The mountain bikes were part of the original bond. The part of the curriculum here at the high school is a 4-year program, what we call BEST. We're trying to not have our PE gym class that most of us remember or not want to remember to be very different, to have lifelong skills. They do a lot of things that you and I hadn't done when we were in school, and we're really working to try to get the children or the young adults to be able to have various exercise and enrichment type things that they can use for the rest of their lives. It's a great program. I have a child that's involved with it, and really, I mean, it's a great program.
there's no question.
There are none in this budget. We have the bikes, and we're not purchasing more. A lot of kids actually bring them from home when they actually use them.
Well, that would have been a better idea, I think, for trying to save some money.
Not everyone has them, so
Not everybody needs one either.
we have no snowmobiles in the budget.
Well, that's
but,
good.
We never did. Never
Further
will.
questions, sir?
Yes, I do. Another question is, from what I understand, there was a motion made, and we were told that we could not go through the budget and postpone this vote until the final budget. Is that correct? The First Lady wanted to make a motion to hold off this vote until all the warrant articles gone through, and we couldn't. My question is, for some of the people here who aren't familiar with the procedure, are we able, we either have to vote this budget in, or we vote it down. And I take it if we vote it down, there's gonna be some scrambling done, because we can make it up on April 16th. Is that correct?
Regarding the rules in the budget, you have the ability to amend the budget today. You have the ability to increase or decrease the amount of the budget. You cannot add a purpose to the budget. You can only increase the bottom line by 10%. Those are the rules relating to the budget.
Okay, now, from my own familiarity, and maybe for some others, that means that we can vote on this budget as it is, and we can either increase it by no more than 10%, and that excludes warrant articles? Is that correct, Mr.
Yes.
Moderator? Okay. My next question is, then I'd like to make a motion to go through the budget line by line and have the school board justify each and every cost and tell us what we are buying, since mountain bikes did slip through the first time. I don't want to have horses, cows, and stuff running out next.
Okay, your motion, sir, is to go through the budget line by line.
Correct, and explain to
Do I
us
have a
what we're
second,
getting.
please? Where's the point of order? I'm sorry? That is true. We do have a motion on the floor, and if you are interested in asking questions about the budget line by line, you have the ability to do so by asking those questions. The way the body would have the right to express his opinion that you don't want to do that would be to vote to limit debate if they found that to be inappropriate. So I will reject that motion to go through it line by line. If you feel that you'd like to ask the questions, I would ask you to think carefully about your other residents, the other residents in Bow who have other questions. Further questions, sir?
I would like to know if there are any surprises that are out of the ordinary that we are purchasing. And either that's either broad or general.
I don't.
I can respond to it in this way. I think the analysis that is on the screen indicates that the budget, other than predominantly contractual obligations, which are in the form of salaries, which are in the form of benefits, and which are in the form of requirements by law and with respect to special education, most all of the other, well, all of the other are reductions in the budgets. So you can see that over the prior year, that is the direction. The school board takes it quite seriously and goes through the budget quite thoroughly, line by line. And then we have a budget committee process in this town in which the budget committee does the same thing. And as was pointed out, we also then have a budget hearing process in which the public can come forward.
Exactly, but unfortunately I was out of town that week.
Okay.
So for me, I wasn't able to make it.
But in general,
But I mean, I looked through the book even last year and did not see a line item for mountain bikes.
But in
That's why I'm wondering if there's something just hidden.
Do you have a question, sir?
No, that's fine.
I believe we have an answer to Dr. Forster's question.
We have an answer for the books. The question regarding the monies that were added back into the budget for books, they were as a result of the school board elected to put back 5th grade math books that the superintendent had taken out. There are math books in for currently for 6, 7, and 8, and we made a determination that we thought we should fund the fifth grade books as well.
One other, excuse me, Andrew Forrest, one other item that I had a question, I'm trying to now find the exact spot, but it had to do with technology upgrades on page S19 in the sum of ultimately $263,000. Are these at the elementary and memorial schools? Because I presume, since that we bought essentially new equipment in the high school, there would be no need for a technology upgrade in the to a tune of $250,000.
A large part of that money is the payment of the third and fourth year of leases that you had committed to for the purchase of computers for the elementary and middle school 3 and 4 years ago.
How large a part?
I would say, I'd have to go look that up, but we're also purchasing 64, I believe, new computers or upgrading the computers we have, and it's basically to take care of the needs at the elementary and middle school where the computers are the older computers that we have.
So is it fair to say that all of that then is for the elementary and middle school and none is going for the high school?
That is fair to say that, yes.
Okay.
Oh, right, please.
On
You have a
page
question?
S12.
No, over here, please.
My name's Elizabeth Kiley. I'm 514 Clinton Street. I've got some questions on special education. I read an article several months ago in the Bow Times, and I don't remember what the figure was, but it was a high percentage of children in Bow in special education. I'd like to know why. I mean, special education, as far as I was always concerned, was for kids that were mentally challenged. And why is so many children in that now?
Actually, when we went through the high school planning and the operations planning for that, we spent a lot of time looking at special education costs because we were trying to project that in our operating budget projections. Chris Parkinson and I actually co-chaired the finance committee that spent the time actually putting the budget together, and we did a comparison from several different school districts. I think there were probably about 20, 25 school districts. Of the 20 or 25 school districts, Bow was the lowest. We have the lowest number around, and I think certainly that we can attest that to is the great job that Rhonda and staff have done with that.
Yes, Ray.
Elgamore Woodland Circle, page S12. Is driver education, or why isn't driver education self-supporting?
It is.
It is. It's a.
But you have to appropriate the money, and then you see it on the revenue side.
I look back on the treasurer's report and I see that the income was $17,000, and that's what estimated again for the next school year. However, driver education is programmed out at $25,000. Why the discrepancy then?
Which page is that on, Ray?
The initial one is on page S12, S26 for the treasurer's report, the estimated revenues.
Ray, that revenue should be 25,000 rather than 17. You're right. It's an offset.
It was an error then in the publishing?
No, it was my error, not in publishing.
Well, I would give the benefit to the publisher.
No, I just choose to tell the truth about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Brooke Barassa, 8 Betty's Lane. I just wanted to give a point of information in response to the woman who had asked a question earlier about special education, and to anybody else who might have the same questions. In order to be eligible for special education services, you don't need to necessarily be mentally challenged or mentally retarded, which is how I kind of read that term. It covers a broad range of different things, from learning disabilities to more severe disabilities, and that it's legally proscribed as to what you need to have or what criterion you need to meet in order to be qualified as special needs. So it's not really possible to load your special needs list as far as whether or not Bo has more or less or any certain number of special needs cases. The children that come in and they're tested, they either meet criterion or they don't meet criterion. And actually, I think as it was pointed out up above, Bo has a fairly normal number of special education children. So I just wanted to give that as a point of information for those who weren't aware.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions? We're discussing Article 6. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Your
concerning
name,
the
sir?
I'm sorry. Roger LaBranch, Hampshire Hills Drive. I just wanted to follow up a little bit on the technology upgrade for the elementary and the middle school. I understand it is pretty important for the high schools because they are going to be using it within a couple of years. When I saw the test results from the statewide, as far as the percentage that were proficient and basic, I wasn't impressed at all with the reading levels. If we have $250,000 that we can spend on the elementary, I'd like to have it spent on additional reading teachers. That's the most critical time for them to get at a proficient level of reading for the elementary. They don't need computers when they're in first and second grade. Whatever computers are around next year and the following year, by the time these kids get to high school and beyond, the keyboards aren't even gonna look the same. They need to learn the basics. They need to get the reading level up. I would like to see the results better than Hopkinton was last year. I was not impressed with the results of the statewide testing for the reading, and that was for the 3rd grade and 6th grade.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else interested in speaking? Okay, we have Article 6, the budget. It's been moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question? For all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Nay. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. I'm sorry, sir? Okay. Motion, sir, to limit is this, it would be the same motion that we made before under RSA 410. I have a motion. Do I have a second, please? Okay, I have the second. Sir, could I have your name? Okay. The motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 6, the budget, has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It's a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. We are now on Article 7. Article 7 is to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $12,000 to be added to the capital reserve fund previously established for replacement of the sliding glass doors at Bow Memorial School, or take any other action in relation to thereto. It is recommended by the school board and recommended by the budget committee. And I recognize Chris Parkinson.
I move Article 7 as printed in the annual report.
It's been moved. Do I have a second? What's your name, ma'am? Count the name of the person who seconded that. Okay. Article 7 has been moved and seconded. Chris, would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, this is a capital improvement plan which we intend to this is basically the second installment, and we intend to complete this next year with respect to repairing the sliding glass doors in the Memorial School. They're in difficult shape, so we have put this money aside to do that in the future.
Okay. Would anyone would like to discuss Article 7?
We'll get that for you in a second, Ray.
Ray, can you restate your question at the microphone?
Well, the question really was just where is it listed in the town report with respect to the capital improvement plan? Go ahead, Peter.
It's not in the, this doesn't happen to be, to my knowledge, be in the town's capital improvement plan itself. It's on, we have a listing of the balances on page S29. But to my knowledge, these are not a part of the town's capital improvement plan. Yes.
Ray, could you use the microphone, please?
Are we moving this money into the correct format when it is titled Report of the Trust Fund Balances and the article says to move it into the Capital Reserve Fund?
A capital reserve fund is a trust fund.
Our attorney says yes. He's up front here.
Trustees Rick Manberg does too.
So does Rick Manberg. You can take your choice as to which is more important.
I'll take Rick.
Further discussion on Article 7. Okay, Article 7 has been moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question? For all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it to vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 8, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be added to the Capital Reserve Fund previously established for the purpose of replacing the rooftop heating and ventilation units at Bow Elementary School and Bow Memorial School, or to take any other action in relation thereto. I recognize, this is recommended by the school board and recommended by the Budget Committee, and I recognize Ellen Fries.
I move Article 8 as printed in the annual report.
It's been moved. Do I have a second, please? And your name, sir? Kevin. Ellen?
Thank you, Kevin. This again is a capital reserve program. This would be year 3 of a 4-year plan.
Any discussion? Seeing no one interested in discussion? Okay, I see no one. Oh, here we go.
Sorry.
Your
Leon
name?
Schwartz, Deer Run Road. Does this improvement in the future, when expansions are probably going to be made to the elementary or potentially made to the elementary and middle school, will this handle it or will this have to be modified? I don't know if it's an appropriate question for this room.
It is just replacement,
Just replacement of the existing?
existing units.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Stephen Buckley, 28 Brown Hill Road. The balance listed in the HVAC Capital Reserve Fund on S29 says it's $61,491. Maybe Mr. Manberg could answer this question, but in the report of trustees of trust funds, the same Capital Reserve Fund in his report says that the amount in that Capital Reserve Fund is $83,312.93, and I guess I'm wondering which figure is correct. And also perhaps it could be explained what is the expected amount you want to get when you want to carry out the project that is the object of the fund.
I know the printing is small, but that is 63,000 in the report of the trust funds. The difference is some interest that they didn't have posted to their books when they went and did their numbers.
Thank you. I couldn't read that. And again, what is the object, what is the objective in terms of the amount you want to collect before you do the work?
The total amount, the projected estimate would be $120,000.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we are voting on Article 8 as moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it as a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 9, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $25,000 to be added to the capital reserve fund established for school building purposes and related costs under Article 7 of the 1998 annual meeting. This amount will be offset by a like amount of exaction fees received from the town. It's recommended by the school board and recommended by the budget committee, and I will recognize Marie McMillan.
I move Article 9 as printed in the annual report.
It's been moved. Do I have a second, please? Your name, sir? It's been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion. And Marie?
Up to is the correct wording. So we have to amend this. I don't see where I'm supposed to be. I would like to make a motion to amend. So, no? Yes.
Yeah, it should have been, because it's posted in the book, because not, up to needs to be in there, it's not in the.
Okay.
This is the article I want, so
There seems to be a discrepancy between the book and the actual warrant itself. The article will be amended to read as follows, or I would recommend that you amend it to read as follows so that it's clear that it says what was intended to be said. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $25,000 to be added to the capital reserve fund established for the school building purposes and related costs under Article 7 of the 1998 annual meeting. This amount will be offset by a like amount of exaction fees received from the town. So that would be the article, and I would say that it'd be moved in that, amended in that fashion.
I will make motion to accept the
Okay.
amended wording.
Yeah. Okay. I think I really just reread what I read in the first place, but we can make sure it's amended properly. So let's go with the amendment, and do I have a second? Fine. Do I have a second? I'll second. All right. Mark? All right, so let's get the wording down. It's an emotion to amend. Does anyone want to talk about it? Do you want to amend it so it's in pro- When I read it the first time, it was moved and seconded, right? And now now I have another motion to amend. I understand, sir, and the motion to amend is to make it consistent in all respects to what's printed in the article, notwithstanding what's written in the book, and that's a proper amendment. So we're talking about the amendment right now. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Yes, Nancy Reinhardt, One Stack Drive. Could you tell me what exactly this means? What did Article 7 of the 1998 annual meeting say? In the previous town report, it said there was some discussion and some bonds. What is our school building purpose and related costs?
It's on So on S5, minutes from last year was to establish this account. But right now, we're just amending it, isn't it? But with discussion on the amendment.
Your question is directed at the overall article as amended, correct? It's not, you're not questioning the amendment, are you? Well, I think we need to vote first on the amendment to the article, and then we can answer that question.
Yes, simply the amendment was to make sure that no matter what was written in the warrant or in the book, it's in the form that's being presented to you. Once we amend it, the article itself, as amended into proper form, will be open for discussion. So it might be, I would recommend that we vote on the amendment, and then we'll talk about the article itself. So are you ready?
Question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Where did the figure 25,000 come, and why is it only up to 25 if we exceed that amount? It just is up to, and I'm questioning.
It's all germane. What I'd like, if we could vote on the amendment first, and then we can get to the article. Ray, is that okay?
But he has a point. He's wondering about the up to language.
Oh, I see. I see. All right. All right. I'm sorry. I take that back. Go ahead. If you could, let's.
Jim?
Who's Jim?
I'd like to move the amendment.
No, the amendment's been moved and seconded. It's being discussed right now, and Ray would like a question answered, and it's germane to the amendment, so please answer the question.
We believe, and in discussing this issue with those that know, is that we don't believe we'll exceed that limit. We think that's a reasonable limit for what we would tend to receive. I think that's the correct answer. We don't know what we're going to receive, but generally it's been
The question then
it's
is,
been
what if
short of
we
that.
exceed that? Perhaps we don't get to 25,000, but perhaps we get to 31,000 for some strange reason.
Did we do the amendment? All right. The purpose of this is the exaction fees. This is where we place them when the town gives them to us, and we've never exceeded that amount. As to date, we've received $12,952,884, excuse me. These are fees we get from new building permits that has been established by the planning board, and building permits are down, so we can't see us getting an extremely large amount, and this is about average is what we get. And that's all, this is the purpose of putting those exaction fees into this. The $225,000 was the bond money left over from Bow High School that we put into this account. That is there. And then whatever exaction fees we collect this year will go in there.
To answer your question, maybe more specifically, if we did exceed, if we had a good year for exaction fees, and it was in excess of that, then we believe, and I can look to others in the room, we believe that would just go back to the town to reduce taxes. And I'm getting a nod from Rick Manberg.
Thank you.
Further discussion? I see someone moving toward the microphone. Moving right past the microphone. Okay, we are voting on the amendment. Are you ready for the question? For all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It's a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Now we are voting on the article as amended. Is there any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 10. I believe. To see if the district will vote to authorize the school board to enter into a long-term lease and purchase agreement for a period of 5 years July 199 to June 30, 2004, for the purpose of leasing and purchasing one full-size school bus and to raise and appropriate the sum of $12,999 for the 1999-2000 fiscal year lease payment, or to take any other in relation thereto, recommended by the school board, recommended by the budget committee. I recognize Marie McMillan.
I move Article 10 as printed in the annual report.
Is it consistent? Okay. Do I have a second, please? Second. Okay, it's been moved in second. Marie?
The school district purchases buses through a lease purchase agreement. We put out to bid, and we have accepted, we would like to lease purchase a bus. It's a 77 passenger. It's to replace a 14-year-old bus that we need to no longer use. The state said when they inspected them, we don't want to see this one again, so we need to replace it. The district has established a maintenance program for our buses to try to keep our buses on a maintenance schedule for longevity. Also, we try to replace the buses as they get older. We do this on a regular basis. We have set up a schedule of how many buses that we purchase every year, because the school district, the school board, felt that we needed to be conservative in our spending. We were scheduled to buy 2 buses this year. The school board decided that we could get by with just 1, but we did need to get rid of the 14-year-old bus that was just about making it. So this is to purchase a 77 passenger, as I said, is to replace a 66 passenger bus. It will have air brakes, the standard buses that we use.
We're talking on Article 10. Is anybody interested in being heard? Okay. Where is he? Nope.
Yes, will this new bus have seat belts? I mean,
Our school buses do not have seat belts. The national safety do not require us to have them, and all their studies show that school seat belts aren't necessary because of the height of seats, the distance from the child to the seat, and the density of the seat. I also read that.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else on Article 10? Okay. You ready for the question? Article 10 is moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 11.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes, sir.
I asked the town meeting if they could stray from the regular meeting, and I'd like to do so tonight. We recognize the gymnastics teams. I think this town should show appreciation to the girls' basketball teams. I believe they only lost 1 game, the JVs, and varsity didn't lose any until they get in the final tournament. I think we'd ought to recognize them.
Okay, thank you, Paul. We're now on Article 11. And Article 11 is to see if the Bow School District will vote to approve the cost item included in the collective bargaining agreement between the Bow School Board and Bow Education support staff, wherein the estimated increase for salaries and benefits are $47,036 for the 1999-2000 fiscal year, $56,775 for the fiscal year 2000-2001, $48,392 for the fiscal year 2000-2002, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $47,036 for the 1999-2000 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels paid in the prior fiscal year. It is recommended by the school board, recommended by the Budget Committee, and I would recognize Ann Bear.
I move Article 11 is printed in the annual report.
It's been moved. Do I have a second, please? Second. I'm sorry. Who was that, sir? Oh, Ian Hecker. Okay. Article 11, Ann.
As you heard, this represents the increases for a 3-year contract. Actually, you're only voting on the first year of the contract, but you're binding, the voting body will be bound to the second and third year of the contract. The first year represents no change to the base. The second year is a 2% increase, and the third year is a 1% increase to the base salary. The numbers may look large if I say it's a 0% increase to the base, to the salary schedule. There are people that move up steps even if you don't increase the base. And we have increased costs in health insurance. And as salaries increase, FICA increases and workman's comp increases. And that's what the numbers represent.
Yes, sir.
Andrew Forrest, Windsor Road. Just a question on the budget that we just voted. Did we not have support staff salaries in that budget?
Yes, you have the salaries that are current for this year. This is representing the increase for next year as we agreed in a negotiated contract. You can't include these in the current budget because the voters have to approve the increase. All you're approving in the current budget is what the status quo, what we paid this year.
Further discussion? Okay, Article 11 has been moved and seconded. That's okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. The same amount shows up twice, $47,036. Why is that in there twice? I'm Evanoak Trail, Page Road, Bow.
What you're voting on this year is the $47,036. But we have to show you the estimated cost for the second and the third year. So in the beginning of the article, it shows you the first, the second, and the third year. And at the end of the article, it explains that you are only voting for to appropriate the funds for the first year of the contract, but we are informing you what the second and third year will cost.
Further discussion? Okay, we're voting on Article 11. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 12, to see if the district will vote to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the school board, to appoint a deputy treasurer or to take any other action related thereto. And I will recognize Bob Wester.
I move Article 12 as printed in the annual report.
Move. Do I have a second? Sorry, your name, sir? Paul Heyman. There we go. Okay, Bob?
This is basically a housekeeping type article.
Any discussion? Okay, we're on Article 12. It's been moved and seconded. There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir.
We have, if I may at this point, raised the issue that there are certain articles that we have not voted to restrict reconsideration to date. Could you just enumerate those that we haven't voted on, those which we have restricted reconsideration?
We restricted reconsideration on 1, 2, 3, and I believe 6.
Well, I would move that we restrict reconsideration of Articles 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 pursuant to, you'll pardon me, the statutory references 41.
4010.
Thank you.
In second, you get that right? No. So you get Ray second? Yeah. Okay. The motion has been made to restrict reconsideration of Articles 7, 8, 9, and 10. Any discussion? And 11? Okay. Right? Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none? Oh. Did you, yeah, we got, all set. All right. So, there's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. It is a vote in the affirmative, and I so declare it. Article 13, is there any other business anyone would like to bring before the meeting? Okay, folks, I'm sorry.
Just would like to make mention that we will be having a forum with respect to, prior to the April 16th meeting on April 5th. So if you can attend to that, we'll try to answer whatever questions we can at that time. That will be at the Memorial School, 7 o'clock. 7:30, excuse me. We had to wait for bedtime for Bo to be over, so 7:30.
Folks, before we finish up, want you to know at the April 16th meeting, we will be meeting in Bow High School, and the current plan is to meet in this room, so come early for a good seat. If there is an overflow, it'll be hooked up probably by video. It will be hooked up by video to the cafeteria, and we will handle the overflow crowd that way. We may put people out the back, but I expect it'll be a little more spirited at that meeting, and come early. So, there being no further business before the meeting, I would like a motion to adjourn to the April 16th meeting. So moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We stand adjourned until April 16th. Just gotta, it's not over. Huh? Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you, you did very well. Hi.